So today, let's take a look at more Algebra 1 review. Oh, and I could show you this too. You want to see what the other Algebra 2 honors classes are doing for factoring? We played a game. Okay, they're doing gateways. You heard of it? Yeah. Oh, you only got 5 right out of 6? Gotta retake the whole thing over and over and over. So you get 6 out of 6. 6 out of 6, 7 out of 6, 7 out of 7, however many there are. And I don't know. They're similar to what we've been doing, right? All right, let's do this. You don't have to give me the answer, but what do you do for this one? That's the difference of two perfect squares. Straight up, what do I call these? Back sign chart problem. All right, what do you got to do first here? Greatest common factor is 4x squared. And then if it still needs factoring, you keep going. Why no working? Then it gets a little tougher. All right. GCF, and then you're gonna have to do slide and divide. Same. But this one, I wanted to look at this one. Wow, that'd be further off. Someone bumped the card. Right with you. All right, if you end up in one of the other classes, I want you to know how to do this. All right. Anyone know how to do it? Is there a GCF? Nope. So instead of X and X, you're gonna have to do X squared and X squared. Okay, I mean, what perfect square is this? Anybody with their calculator handy? 25 times 25? Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then you keep going. What's that guy going to turn into? X plus or minus positive 5, negative 5. Okay. And now this one, you don't know how to do this yet, do you? When it's a plus, do you know? I was going to teach you this year. Okay. This is X plus or minus 5i. But later this year, we'll be doing imaginary numbers. Okay. I imagine. Careful how much you get pink eye. Joke. Yeah. So anyway, you're capable of doing these, but just wanted to show you what the other half is doing. Okay, so today's notes, if you will. Let's see, let's start with domain and range. Find this page. Nice. Pennies. Okay. Do you know domain represents all possible what's? What letter? X's. Okay. And range all possible Y's. So that's news to you. Right, yourself a little bit. Okay. And might as well look at the first one. Get a little closer. Yeah. So there's the function. All right. Now for domain, I teach my youngins to run their pencil through the x-axis. You tell me, bang, is it touching the red graph yet? No. When does it start? At -5. Is it touching the red graph at -4? Yeah. When did it oops. Struggle bus this morning. Let's go back. So you were saying it was touching everywhere from -5 to where? Boom. I heard the correct answer and I heard the common mistake answer. Where is this? What X is that? 0. That guy should not be in your domain because what letter is that? That's Y. Okay, so what is the domain? Everything from -5 to 0. Okay. We'll talk about brackets and parentheses in a minute. But let's do the range. You run your pencil through the y-axis. When does it start to touch red graph? At -4. Say it right. And when did it stop touching? Up there at 5. See how I do it? Okay. Now, sometimes there's going to be arrows on the end of that. We'll talk about that. Okay, but that's how you do domain and range. All possible x's, all possible y's. Okay, and okay, let me teach you about a little bit about interval notation. Okay. Make this write these down, top of your sheet. Okay. Anytime there's an equal sign, use bracket. Anytime you don't have an equal sign, parenthesis. Anytime you have an equal sign, greater than or equal, less than or equal, plain old equal, bracket. And no equal signs paren. So we're going to use this terminology, if you will, for the rest of the year. So let's take a look at that problem we just did together. Good. Or actually, before we get to that one, let's see. You don't have to write these down, but all right, how do you write this in interval notation? It definitely goes from where. If you had to make a picture, what kind of dot would you have at -8? Open or close? Okay, so this is open at -8, and then what kind at 16? Closed. Okay, so here's the picture, and now you're going to write it from interval notation. What does -8 get? Bracket or a parenthesis if it's open? Red. And what does 16 get if it's filled in? So that's what it is. Okay. How about this guy? What does it look like? Open or closed? So it's open at 7. Going greater than. So how do we say that? It started where? 7. And where did it end? It never did. So what do you put here? infinity. Okay. Infinity always gets parens. What does this guy get this time? Paren. That's how you do it. Okay. So let's go back to one we did and finish it. All right. What does the domain start with? Bracket or parenthesis? It's open. So paren. And what does it end with? A fill in. So bracket. That is closed. Good. How about the range? Bracket or paren? Bracket there. And it ends with a paren. Okay. Why don't you try number 2 on your own? I think that's about all I see, that's not a building. We did count, but it's start. We always go negative. All right. Some of you are like, I got this, and you can finish the worksheet before we even get to the next problem. Go to check one. I gotta do this. Right. Late is better than never. That's on that. Not open. Always start with the lowest. Yes. All right, good. Play the game. Come on. Domain, what letter? X. So I'm running my pencil through the x-axis. Where did it start to hit? Right away. -5. Closed. So what do I use for closed? Bracket, yo. And then when did it stop touching? Even though you don't see a dot, it physically stopped touching like right here. Okay, so that's 3. And since there's no bubble there that's open, it's closed. There you go. Range, let's run it up from the bottom. We always go negative to positive. So somebody, bless their heart, first one of the day, someone's going to say 3 to -5, which isn't wrong, but I'll have to take off 1 point to get your attention that on the AP test someday, next year, the year after, they won't give you. So got to go from negative to positive. Okay. And let's go, range starts where? -3, and then it stopped up at +3. And both closed. Good enough? Yeah. Let's just eyeball the rest of this here worksheet. Maybe do one more. Maybe not. Yeah, pick one. number okay. 7. See if I like one better. No, none of them have arrows on them, so I'm going to make one adjustment here. All right, look at number 9 and add this to your picture. Make those so they don't stop. So this is an absolute value V. Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to see one that doesn't stop. All right, so let's do domain together. All right, start over here. Is it touching the red graph? Trick question. It doesn't look like it, but it is because the arrow does what? Keeps going forever. Okay, so we agree it is touching. Does it ever stop? So where did it start? Way over here. Not infinity, but negative infinity. And where did it end over there? So the domain would be all reals is really what it is. All right. Okay. All right. And then how about the range? You do the range. 9er. And remember, there are arrows on that side. Okay, work with me. When did it start to touch red graph? 0, and then it never stopped. So how do you say 0 to forever? What do I use first? A bracket, then 0, and then positive infinity always gets a paren. Okay, so I think you got interval notation down. Okay, so what's left today? We did domain and range. Okay, flip it over. And we kind of already did this too, right? So how do you do these? I'd advise you to feel free to draw your own picture if that helps you. For instance, number 1, what does that look like? What kind of dot for this guy? Closed at 2, going which way? Okay. And what about this side? What kind of dot? Open at 5, and that's going this way. All right. You don't have to do that, but maybe that helps you to actually give me interval notation for this. All right. This side starts where over here? Negative infinity. 2, and what does 2 get if it's closed? Okay, and then over here starts at 5, it's open, so it gets what? Paren, and it never stops. So here is your answer for number 1. You guys remember this guy from geometry? What was that? Logic?
Yeah.
Good times, right? Contrapositive, if P then Q, Venn diagrams, good times. Good question. All right, so are there any, I mean, do you absolutely need the picture to do this? No, But I've been in high school for 30 years now, and I still draw them, and it helps me to not miss them. Okay, so let's move on to the last worksheet today, linear equations. Definitely an Algebra 1 topic. Okay. Okay, so what makes something a line rar? Okay, a line. Okay. Only one of these three is a line. Which one is it? The first one. Okay. That's that. Okay. Well, I guess let's write at the top of our page the linear equations that you brought with you. All right. Linear. Here they are. All right, notes for you. All right, I think there are three of them. And do you know any of them off the top of your head? Y equals mx plus b. There's your first one. That's the one you're probably most familiar with. And what do you notice about this that makes it a line? What's the highest exponent you see in here? 1. That's what makes a line, when nothing is raised to power up above 1. Okay, write that down. How about let's talk letters. What's M? This slope. Sloppy. And what's B? Y intercept. And that's why they call it slope intercept form. That's the one everyone knows the best, but that's not the best one. This is. Point slope is gold. Yeah, wait till you get to calculus. You use this one every day. And on my quiz much sooner. You're gonna like this guy. Okay. So we got M is slope. And where's the point? X1, Y1 is the point. Make friends with that. And the last one will not so useful, but standard form. Put your X's and Y's on the same side and your constant C by itself. What's that little arrow? Why am I pointing to A? You're asking. A has to be a positive whole number. Okay, so let's keep these handy. Really, the only other formula we need today is slope. What is slope formula? What words do we use? Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the actual formula. But what do they say? Rise over run. Okay, think about it. You're on the track. Okay, if you want to win the race and you're sitting on the track, what do you think you got to do first? Run or rise? Yeah, you try to run first on your rear end, you ain't gonna win that. You rise up and then run. You got it. Okay, so rise over run. All right, so let's take a look at the worksheet. And do a few of these together, and then the rest of the time will be yours. All right. I don't think you're gonna have any trouble doing problem number one. What's the slope? Fine, done. Okay, m equals 9. All right, number 2, a little bit of a trick question. Do you guys know what this one looks like? It is a line because what did I say? What's the highest power? 1. It's a line. But what does it look like if there's no y? Straight up. Here's how I do these pictures. It says x has to equal -2. There it is. Okay, but remember, it's not a dot, it's a line going through x equals -2. Now, think back to algebra 1. Okay, what kind of slope was this? Positive or negative? Positive, because it was an incline, I like to say. It's good, I get to be your algebra 1 teacher. All right, this slope was negative because it's a what? A decline. And then the other two. Anybody ski in here? Several? Yeah. All right. What we call this, cross-country skiing? Kind of boring. And what kind of slope is that if there is none? Zero. Okay. No slope, 0. And this, some of you good skiers are basically doing this. All right. The words coming out of your mouth are probably undefined. Going that double diamond there. So undefined slope. All right. So what kind of slope does this one have? Undefined. Yeah. So the answer would be undefined. And you spell it out. When you get to the AP test again, they're not going to know what UND means. Okay. All right. We talked about slopes. Let's actually do some work here. All right. Number 1. What do we have to do before we define the slope for number 1? Yes.
Yeah, put the 3x.
Okay, you have to isolate, you want to turn it into y equals mx plus b. Okay, so in my algebra 1 class, my guys put a box around y, and then everybody else has to hit the road to the other side till y is by itself. This one nice and easy. What's the one step to get y by itself? Now, go ahead and write your answer. What's the slope? Nice and easy. And even though we're not doing graphs today, this is, yes. You know where it is. Okay. All right. Practice right now, even though you don't have to, graph that. Okay. right back. All right, guys, thanks for the wait. All right, how you graph this? Put a dot where? Y-intercept, put a dot at -3. And what's your slope tell you to do? Go 3 which way? 3 down and 1 over which way? This way, right? Okay, or instead of down 3 over 1, you could have gone where? Up 3 and over 1 that way. Let's see, up 3 over 1, and now connect the dots. Oops. Fun game. You can not hit something by mistake. There we go. There we go. And there's your picture. However, did anyone ever teach you the cover method? You picked a good day to be here. Let me show you how you could have graphed this without doing anything. Cover method. If you got, what kind of form is this? 3x plus y equals -3. Standard. You'll like this trick. Cover the x's. Bang. What's left? Y equals -2. Put a dot at y equals -3. Now cover up the y, and what's left? 3x equals -3. What is x equals? Negative. And now you just connect the dots. So you never have to make it y equals mx plus b if you can do the cover method. Did you see that? Okay. Good enough. All right, and this, I don't think you need me to go through it with you much. Why don't you find the slope here on section 4 for that one problem? with each other. Show your work. Thank you. When you get to calculus, they'll talk about slope without using the word. They'll call it the rate of change. Change in y over change in x instead of rise over run. Okay. Delta y over delta x. For your physics. Y. Let's check. Okay, guys, help me. The formula you told me was this. So let's begin. What is the second y that you see here? 7 minus first y you see. Negative 2 over second x minus first x. Eventually, you'll say tree. Yikes. And now do the math. What'd you do back in middle school when you had minus a negative? Did you cry? Of course not. You said plus positive. Now 7 plus 2 is 9 or 6 minus tree. 3. Always simplify. Final answer. Not 3 over 1. Plain old 3. Okay. And when you're on the SOL, I would highly recommend you make yourself a picture, and instead of using a formula, what could you do to find the slope? You could actually count. Right? How far did you go up from -2 up to 7? You went up 9. And how far did you go over from 3 to 6? 3. So I think you're going to be better with pictures than you are with formulas. I am. Okay. But either way, going to need to be able to find yes slope. Okay. All right. Now, finally, and end my part of this, and then you can just have a little fun on these. Okay, section 5 here. Letter A. That's an insult to your high intelligence. Let's do a tougher one. How about D? Okay. Let's do this one together. Slope is 3 and it goes through point -41. Your first thing you gotta figure out is which formula would be the best one to use. If I gave you a slope and a point slope. See how that works? So step 1, you're gonna write this down. And now fill it in. What was slope? Tree. And here we go. What goes next to y, also known as y1? Okay. Common mistake, you know it. What's somebody gonna put here? Bless their heart. The 4 because they saw it first. Okay. But remember, the y goes here. All right, and the x here What is it? -4. Oh, you want your full credit. What is this simplified to? Bang, full credit for me. Okay, but why is that? I told you that was the best one. Why is that the best one? Because guess what you could do to make it turn into the other form? Take a look at y equals mx plus b. What do you see? Y is by itself and no parentheses. How you get rid of the parentheses here? What we call that? Not foil, but yeah. So let's distribute this joint. All right, and what do you get? Plus 12 and get y by itself. Last step, holler. Add 1. And you got this. Okay, so understand you can't turn the slope intercept back into that one, but you can always turn this one into slope intercept if you need. Okay, so that's why my personal favorite is point slope. Okay, all right, we won't do any more of those, but eyeball. Let's see. I'm thinking ahead. Yeah, look at letter E. What did they give you? 2 whats? 2 points. Do we have a point formula? No. So what's the only extras? What makes this the hardest one? You will actually have to do what first? Find the slope, because they didn't give it to you. Then you could use either point and put it in point slope form. Star that one. That's got honors level test question written all over it. You can do that one, you can do it, yeah. Middle of my notes. You get 3 1/4. Take the lane. Okay. All right. And you remember at the beginning of the year, I told you there were 4 things you could do to make sure you were a success in anything. What were they? Do your work, show up on time, and avoid hall passes. You're about to miss the hardest thing we do today. You're welcome to go, but these hall passes are hindrances. Okay. All right, go to the last page that we haven't done. If I can find it. I don't think I have it. All right. Let's go here. All right, flip to the page that says, there it is, parallel and perpendicular lines. All right. Parallel and perpendicular. Going? It's not. Okay, what do you have to know? Parallel lines. Perpendicular lines. Remember these? What kind of slopes do parallel lines have? Same slopes. All right, but just so far as slope goes, same slopes. Perpendiculars. Okay, 2 words, opposite, reciprocal. Okay. Okay. So as a for instance, Suppose I give you this. So I'll do it that way. All right, number 10. We're gonna do number 10 again. So this is definitely gonna be on quiz next class. Okay, here's the given. I'm gonna ask you to give me two equations, one for a parallel line through that point. And a perpendicular line through that point. Okay, here's how I do it. I start with this. I do want to scream sometimes here. Come on. All right, I better go quick. All right. You're just gonna fill in the boxes and get your full credit. Okay, we'll do parallel first. What did we say the slopes will be for parallel lines? Same, so give me the same slope you saw up top. 3, put it where?
And the middle class.
Bang. Welcome to half credit land. All right, and now put your point 6,4 in the right spots. And again, we talked about old common errors. Okay, so what goes in the first box? 4, and second box? 6. Done, full credit. Okay, why don't you try perpendicular? Fill in the boxes. Okay, what kind of slope are you looking for? Opposite reciprocal. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. All right, let's finish quick before I run out of juice up here. All right, what stays the same? 4 and a 6. So really all you gotta be able to tell me is opposite reciprocal slope. Here is the slope. Opposite makes this what? Negative. Well, the opposite makes it negative. And the reciprocal is just the old flipperoo. So 3/1 is now 1/. That's it. Okay. So this is all we got. This is all that will be on your quiz next time. Factor in, don't sleep on that. Okay, you gotta know how to factor, but what you saw here as well. Okay. We'll do a nice review right beforehand. See you then.